Call the Treasury and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is where we are, this is what we're going to have. If you want to arrest us, that's up to you, but we're going to do it. They never showed up. Treasury agents never showed up once, but the media gave us good press. And the biggest event was when, for us, was when Nixon's inauguration happened in January of '73, and I was an officer in the Air Force at the time, but I took leave and I went to Washington, and we hired a 1926 Stearman biplane pilot to fly around the Capitol throughout his inauguration that day, and that got us great press because Walter Cronkite and Roger Mudd had a little conversation about it during the national coverage of the event, and I think Walter said, Roger, what's that little plane that's been flying around the Capitol building for several hours? You know anything about that? And Roger said, yes, Walter, I believe that's a plane hired by the National Committee to Legalize Gold to restore Americans' right to own gold. And then Cronkite offered his amazing reply, which was, what? You mean gold isn't legal? And then the media picked it up. The print media, Barron's, Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, they all got onto that and wanted to know more about the committee and what we were doing. And we had position papers and we had mass mailings and talk shows and all that kind of stuff. And we got it done. We repealed it. And it was a single issue. It was something I really, deep down, knew we could do it if we stayed focused and were imaginative and did creative things along the way. And just kept everybody focused on that specific issue. And that's kind of how I feel about this as 1207. It's a specific issue, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're an independent, it doesn't matter. We all pay taxes. We can all be audited at any time by the IRS if they choose to do so. And yet our tax money is being used by the Federal Reserve System, which can't be audited. Right. Nobody knows what they're really doing with the money. They won't disclose how they're using it, where they're sending it, who they're giving the bailouts to, how much are they giving the bailouts, how much of it's going to overseas countries or corporations go. It's all secret. And I don't believe that's right. You know? No. I just want an audit. That's all. Just an audit. Let's look at the books. They're our nation's central bank. They're the ones that interact with the Treasury Department to monetize the debt and some would say create inflation. And this is something we need to do. We need to audit these people because they're, in effect, as Ron Paul pointed out, and I didn't vote for Ron Paul. I didn't vote against him. I didn't vote for him, but that's another story. But anyway, I liked his message in this case. And he said specifically that, in his opinion, the Federal Reserve System is the fourth branch of the federal government. And I never thought of it that way. It clicked as soon as I heard it because they're the purse strings for everybody else. And ultimately, when you talk about money, even if it's inflated fiat currency, it still has power. And it still controls the other branches of the federal state. So if they have this much control, we need to know a little bit more about them. We need to at least have one audit, of which there has not been a single audit done upon them since 1913. And so, I'd say it's overdue. We're overdue for an audit.
Right.
Anyway, when I had these made, Jennifer and I, just about a week ago, were up in St. Louis. We went to the Campaign for Liberty. We almost didn't go. You know, we were, can we get away? We got our commitments, we got this and that, and stuff for our son in school. But pretty much at the last minute, I said, let's do it. I feel we needed to be up there. This issue, the economy, what's happening, I felt this is something we needed to do. So we went up there. It was a straight drive-through. We made a stop in Memphis to drop our son off. Went on up. It was about a 7.5-hour, 8-hour drive. We got there. We were tired. We were hungry. And they had the opening night, which you're going to see, which is Friday night. And we almost didn't go, let's go get something to eat. We're both tired and hungry. I said, no, we came up here. We better hear this opening presentation. I'm glad we did. It was something. What you're going to see first is John Tate, who is the president of Campaign for Liberty, and he introduces people involved, and you kind of get a feel for, it takes about 10 or 12 minutes, and then he introduces the speaker, who introduces Judge Andrew Napolitano, who is the Fox news commentator since 1998, I believe. He's got his own show on Fox. He has a lot of judicial experience and background. He gives an incredible speech, and then he, in effect, introduces Ron Paul, who comes after him. And this was before a room. You can't necessarily pick up all the applause on here because of the way it was recorded, but it was a standing room only crowd of over 1,000 people in the ballroom, people from all over the country. We had people from Illinois, from Missouri, from Minnesota. We had a nice conversation with one gentleman from Massachusetts, from Ohio, Louisiana, every place. And again, I met some people who consider themselves Democrats, some Republicans, some